both friends embarked on a precarious journey that changed Adesua's life forever. Vivian took Adesua to find answers by exploring a different world. They visited a native doctor, hoping for guidance. Adesua felt hopeful but unsure about what would happen. The native doctor performed rituals and gave Adesua charms and other juju things, promising that Omon would run back to her and they would be back together again. Adesua held on to hope, believing in the possibility of a better future, so she thought. In the city of Benin, there lived a young lady named Adesua. Since she was a teenager, Adesua was deeply in love with her boyfriend Omon. Their journey began in the halls of their secondary school in Benin City, where Adesua and Omon first crossed paths. They were friends, and over the years they became lovers. Everyone could see how much they cared for each other. From playing innocent games as teens to facing the challenges of growing up, Adesua always found happiness and solace with Omon. His laughter made her happy, his smile brightened her day, and his touch made her feel alive. She knew she loved Omon deeply, no matter what happened. They both got into the same university, but Omon started 2 years earlier than Adesua because she waited to get admitted into the same university as Omon. They faced the challenges of university life together, and their relationship grew stronger each day as they planned their future together. After Omon's graduation, he was posted to Lagos State for his 1-year National Youth Service Corps program. Omon thrived during his service time in Lagos, demonstrating his skills and commitment. After completing his youth service, he secured a job at a bank. Meanwhile, Adesua remained in Benin City for her studies. She dedicated herself to excelling in her classes, motivated by her unwavering love for Omon. Despite the physical distance between them, they remained intimately connected through frequent phone calls, heartfelt texts, and occasional visits. As Omon settled into his new job, Adesua eagerly anticipated the completion of her studies. She longed for the moment when they could reunite in Lagos, where they dreamt of building their future together. Adesua's weekends took on a special significance, marked by her regular visits to Omon in Lagos State. Each excursion provided a precious opportunity to spend time together, creating cherished memories that sustained Adesua through the week until their next reunion. The anticipation of seeing Omon again filled her with boundless joy, making each visit a treasured experience moment and highlight she eagerly looked forward to. After some few months, Adesua couldn't help but notice a growing sense of distance creeping into her relationship with Omon. His responses to her calls became sporadic, and when they did manage to connect or see each other, his demeanor seemed distant, preoccupied with excuses of fatigue or work demands. Adesua's heart clenched with worry as she pondered the possible reasons behind this sudden change. Despite her efforts to remain understanding and patient, the widening gap between them left her feeling adrift, as if the solid ground they once stood upon was gradually slipping away. Each passing day seemed to deepen the chasm between them. She yearned for the warmth and intimacy they once shared, praying fervently for the silence that now hung between them to dissolve. One weekend, Adesua made a decision. She wanted to talk to Omon about their distance. She traveled to Lagos hoping to understand what was happening. But when she arrived, Omon's apartment was silent. The locked doors and closed curtains made Adesua worry even more about Omon's absence. Adesua tried calling Omon desperately, but every time she called, she heard the empty sound of the phone being disconnected. The silence around her felt just as cold as the distance she sensed in their relationship. Adesua started to worry. She went to Omon's neighbors to ask about him, hoping they could help her understand why he had suddenly disappeared. But their answers didn't give her much comfort. They only talked about how Omon had gone away without saying anything, leaving people wondering where he was. Feeling alone in a city that didn't feel like home anymore, she stayed in a hotel room, feeling weighed down by all the things she didn't know and was afraid to say. She had so many questions and worries on her mind. For 3 nights, Adesua struggled with not knowing what had happened to Omon. As days passed without hearing from Omon, Adesua felt like she was drowning in silence. Omon's absence felt heavier and heavier, making Adesua feel like she was losing herself. Even though she kept hoping for him to come back, she couldn't ignore the painful truth that he was gone. With tears in her eyes and a heavy heart, Adesua decided to return back to Benin City. It used to be her safe place, but now it was filled with memories of their love and the dreams they had together. Seeking answers, Adesua sought out Omon's family in Benin City, hoping for understanding and support. However, their reception was chilly as they never liked her, their words sharp as they urged her to let go of Omon and forge ahead with her own life. Devastated by their reaction, Adesua couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Each step away from Omon felt like she was giving up on their love, and she couldn't stop thinking about all the things she didn't understand. As she struggled with his absence, Adesua held on to the hope that one day they would be together again. Even after graduating, Adesua couldn't rid herself of the sense of emptiness, longing still to hear from Omon. After many months of Omon's disappearance, Adesua ran into Omon's close friend Nosa at the supermarket. They started discussing. She listened anxiously to everything he said, hoping to learn anything about Omon's sudden disappearance. Then, out of the blue, Nosa disclosed the shocking truth. Omon had departed for the United Kingdom in search of new opportunities. This revelation hit Adesua like a bolt from the blue. It was as if a giant wave had crashed down on her, leaving her gasping for air and shedding tears of disbelief and sorrow. She couldn't fathom that Omon had left without a word, let alone traveled so far away. The news deeply affected Adesua, shattering the little trust she had left and causing her heart to ache. Learning that Omon had left without informing her hurt more than any physical pain she had ever experienced. It felt as if he had betrayed her in the worst possible way. Adesua found herself crying uncontrollably, overwhelmed by the sense of betrayal and abandonment. It seemed as though all the love and loyalty she had invested in Omon had been squandered, leaving her questioning the worth of her sacrifices and devotion. She felt isolated, deserted, and empty inside. That night, Adesua couldn't find any comfort in sleep. Instead, her dreams were filled with sadness and longing. She used to think about a future with Omon, but now those dreams felt broken. Every moment reminded her of the dreams she had lost, even though Adesua felt really sad. She didn't want to lose hope. She tried everything to contact Omon by sending emails, but he never replied. Each time she reached out, it felt like her heart was breaking all over again. Feeling bitter and hopeless, Adesua confided in her friend Vivian about everything that had happened. Vivian emerged as a beacon of hope for Adesua, as she vowed to assist Adesua in finding a way to reunite her and Omon. Adesua felt a sense of relief wash over her as Vivian extended her support. With her friend's encouragement and determination, Adesua began to believe that there might still be a chance to mend the broken pieces of her relationship with Omon. Together, both friends embarked on a precarious journey that changed Adesua's life forever. Vivian took Adesua to find answers by exploring a different world. They visited a native doctor, hoping for guidance. Adesua felt hopeful but unsure about what would happen. The native doctor performed rituals and gave Adesua charms and other juju things, promising that Omon would run back to her and they would be back together again. Adesua held on to hope, believing in the possibility of a better future, so she thought. As time passed, Adesua felt both excited and unsure about what would happen. But suddenly she got a phone call she has been long expecting. It was Omon. His voice, which had felt far away before, now sounded clear and sweet. He apologized to her and told her they were getting married and promised a future filled with love. Adesua was so happy, and she shared the happy news with her family, and they were all excited. They started getting ready for the traditional wedding ceremony right away. Within a week after the call, Omon returned to Benin City from the UK. He arrived fully prepared to begin a life together with Adesua. They both did their traditional marriage, then they exchanged vows. They made heartfelt promises to love and remain devoted to each other. As they stood before their loved ones, Adesua and Omon sealed their commitment to each other with joy and anticipation for the future as they became husband and wife. After the wedding, Omon quickly settled into his new role as a husband and provider. He got a job at a local bank. Their happiness grew even more when Adesua and Omon had a baby boy. His arrival made their home filled with joy and laughter. Looking at their baby, their love for him was endless. After 18 months of marriage, one fateful morning, Omon awoke to a sight that left him thoroughly perplexed. Gazing at Adesua, he couldn't shake the sense of bewilderment washing over him. "Why are you here?" he asked, sounding surprised and confused as he tried to understand what was happening. Adesua thought he was joking and laughed softly, but her laughter stopped when she saw the serious look on his face. Omon got out of bed, looking unsure and confused as he tried to understand what was going on. Omon was very frustrated and scared, asking where he was and why he was there. Adesua knew something was really wrong. Omon suddenly realized what was going on, looking at their wedding pictures on the wall. He was shocked and upset. "When did I marry you?" he asked quietly, sounding bitter. Omon got really angry and confused. He paced back and forth in the room before eventually leaving the house, and Adesua alone with her thoughts and broken dreams. She was afraid as she watched him go. As Adesua sank deeper into sadness, she confided in her friend Vivian. Vivian proposed revisiting the native doctor, believing another charm might offer a solution. Adesua, feeling desperate and frightened, reluctantly agreed to return to the native doctor. She was uncertain of what awaited her and hoping for relief from her troubles. When they got there, the native doctor explained that he had done all he could, but some things were out of his control. Adesua was left without answers, feeling even sadder than before. Tears streamed down her face as she grappled with the harsh truth of her situation. The pain weighed heavy in her chest, and she couldn't shake the feeling of despair. Meanwhile, Omon struggled to go back to the United Kingdom. Each time he tried, he failed. As Omon felt more frustrated, so was his pocket. He started to lose hope, and he felt time and fate were against him. As time passed, Omon started to change. He became more and more angry and bitter. He became harsh and sometimes even violent. He would abuse her physically and emotionally as he said hurtful things to Adesua. He was no longer the same person she knew and loved. His heart was filled with fears and uncertainties, making him seem like a stranger to Adesua. Every day, Adesua struggled to survive in her marriage as she became a prisoner by her own making. With each hurtful thing he did, Adesua felt like she was falling deeper into sadness. Her hopes and dreams were completely destroyed. Adesua held on to a tiny bit of hope of forgiveness as she narrated her ordeal to Omon. She talked to him, crying and feeling scared, trying to make him understand how she felt when he abandoned her for the United Kingdom. Omon didn't listen to Adesua's apology. He felt like she was the cause of all the problems and he couldn't forgive her. Omon couldn't take it anymore. He felt really disappointed and upset. He decided to end the marriage. He visited Adesua's family and talked about what had been happening, how he was forced to enter a marriage without his consent and consciousness and then left Adesua's family's house. Adesua's parents were shocked and disappointed at their daughter's actions. A few days later, Omon asked for a divorce. His doubts led him to question the paternity of his son. Omon decided to conduct a paternity test to confirm whether he was indeed the biological father. When the results didn't confirm his fears, he felt a wave of relief wash over him. Despite the challenges in their marriage, he couldn't deny his bond with his son. He made a solemn vow to continue being there for him, committed to maintaining a strong presence in his life, even though their marriage had come to an end. With this commitment in mind, he packed his bags and left the marriage. Meanwhile, Adesua had to deal with being a single mom. She cried a lot, feeling really sad. She couldn't stop thinking about the love she lost and how things could have been different if she had waited or moved on like Omon's parents had suggested few years ago. But she found hope in her love for her son, even though she felt lost and alone. The narrative of this story holds a profound moral lesson. Beware of the illusion of love. Love cannot be coerced or manufactured through deception. Adesua's misguided attempt to manipulate and secure Omon's affection with charms and juju only led to a fleeting facade of love which was shallow and unsustainable. True bonds are forged in honesty, mutual respect and genuine affection, not manipulation. In the end, both were left with shattered dreams, broken hearts, and an innocent son caught in the midst of their turmoil.